Okay, this is actually a very interesting question by Alex Snetzinger. Did you struggle finding your career path in the gaming industry? And if so, how did you like did you get over it aside from trial and error? Because they have tried to going for a game dev program in their first year of college, and they found out they can't handle C++, which was the sign to switch to pre-animation in that year. So it basically wanted to know your thoughts on finding your path despite challenges and personal struggles that came with the territory.
So let's see. For animators, they look for your portfolio of work. They don't care that much about schooling if you have a really nice portfolio.
Okay.
Make sure though, like going to a game dev school, even if you get a master's degree, you're not going to get hired unless it's in a junior position. So even with college, you will get an entry level position. What you get from college is a slight advantage over someone who doesn't have it. So basically what you need is a really impressive animation reel that shows you can do what's necessary for a game, right? So like, for example, let's say you were applying to work on Call of Duty, right? You can download a free model off the internet and just do a bunch of the kind of animations they need in Call of Duty, right? A run cycle, a walk cycle, aiming thing, like a repeating shooting animation, something like that. Get that in your portfolio if you're going to apply for those kind of jobs. If you're
Yeah.
going to apply for cartoony stuff, get some good squashing and stretching animation in there, right? Like make sure that your portfolio, that you pick the pieces that best show you can do the job based on the job you're applying for, and pick that individually for each company, because someone on a Skylanders game, say, won't care how good you are at realistic human characters, right? So that's for animators. For designers, I've seen people come into it from every way. Programmers, degrees are more important, right? Like a degree in programming will get you an interview, maybe. Whereas you'd have to have a really good cover letter or something like that if you didn't have that. But they'll still give you a test, and it'll still be an entry level position. It's the same with any of the other ones, right? So and then the other thing is, be willing to move, because if you're as a brand new person in the industry, if you're limiting yourself to where you live, it's going to be really hard. It might take you a long time to get the job you're looking for. Like, I know someone, it took maybe 6 years.
Wow.
Right? Because and they started in QA, right? But it took so long because they wanted to stay in a very specific area, so that limited their choices. If you look worldwide, I mean, generally they're not going to pay for your travel as a junior person, but anywhere that you can afford to get to and that you want to work, put in an application and try that, because having that flexibility gives you more chances at finding a team that will need you.
Yeah. And
Uh,
obviously, if you get an actual job, then you'll be able to pay to live there eventually, right?
Yeah, and you're going to have interviews that don't result in you getting a job. I mean, that happens to me, and I've been doing this for 14 years. It's happened to me recently, right?
Right.
It's just part of the territory. You just some jobs you don't get.
It's amazing that like people like you who are like just brilliant, like you still don't get some jobs.
Well, sometimes what they need is something very specific, right?
Right, I see.
They're looking for a designer who has experience with monetization in blah 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 blah, right? And I don't, or something like that. And especially right now, there's more people needing to work than there are jobs.
Yeah.
So it's anything you can do to get you that little edge is good, right? But yeah, it happens to me, and I don't take it personally. It just means I'm not the right person.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be the right person. I don't want to be the wrong person any more than they want to have me as the wrong person. And it's funny because I applied to Activision to work on Guitar Hero.
Oh, right. Okay.
Having never done any music game before. And the man who would be my boss interviewed me, and he said, "Look, I'm going to tell you straight up, we don't need we need someone with a giant music game resume for this, and you don't have that, so we can't hire you. But I want to talk to you because there might be something you could do, right? So even though I applied for that position, the position I ended up getting was one I was more suited for, right? So there is some value to applying for ones that you don't have necessarily experience for.
So did you
but
end
I
up
mean,
working with Guitar Hero?
No, Skylanders.
Oh, right, I see, right.
Yeah. There was at the very beginning I was working on Skylanders and the canceled Crash games.
Right, okay. Oh,
And
you worked on the canceled Crash games?
for a little bit, but they were canceled early, and they were canceled early enough, and then I focused entirely on Skylanders after that. That it was barely that I worked on those.
I want to cry.
I think I did like 2 sets of notes, and that was it.
What's the gossip on the Crash games? What were they? What?
I don't know. Let's see, how long ago was that? I think that's
5 years.
Yeah, it was basically going to be, a Crash platformer. Like,
yeah. Oh, it's so
like
decent. You mean? It's like, it's been great.
Well, it wasn't. It was taking a lot longer to get it to the fun stage,
right.
Even though the demo that they made was incredibly impressive. The gameplay wasn't there,
right?
And they weren't able to get it there within the time window they had money to do it.
That's so depressing.
And then the racing one, because the game it was based on got canceled, that didn't come out either.
Right. Oh, that's so depressing.
They tried really, really hard to work up a business model.
Next year is the 20th anniversary. Please, please. Activision, please.
Remember, I haven't been at Activision for a while.
I know.
So who knows?
But still, please, Activision. Please, anyone. Please, bring it back. I'm desperate. I want to see this game.
I'm pretty sure that Activision knows that people want a Crash game.
Yeah.
It's really like I don't know what developer I would have given it to, because most of the developers they have that are really talented are all working on Skylanders.
Right.
Not. I don't mean that. I mean the ones that are really talented at working on character action type games.
Yeah.
The ones that have a lot of people who've done it before.
Yeah.
Those studios are all working on Skylanders games, right? So it's usually on the same one, because it's huge. Like Skylanders is so big, right?
Yeah, they work on it like 2 years in advance. So like they started working on presumably the next one already, like while they were working on Superchargers, from what I understand.
I don't know.
That's what they've done with Trap Team. Like they were working on Trap Team as they were working on. God, what was the third one? Sword Force.
Giant. It was on Giants, yeah.
Yeah,
but they were.
So, yeah, that.
But they've also, the studios were also helping with the game that, like, Beanox, for example, was helping make Skylanders 1. Like they did some of the expansion packs.
Oh right, okay.
They have a whole bunch of studios cooperating together to make these Skylanders games. So to do another character action game, they'd need to get a third-party studio.
Yeah.
And it's not impossible, but it's very difficult to find a talented character action game studio that's free.
Yeah.
Right, like, because they're busy making, right. So you're gonna book that with them in advance. Like, there's a lot of really difficult things to getting a character action game made right now. Or not right now, but as of the last time I heard.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying that's any of the reasons they haven't done it. That's just my speculation as to why it's difficult.
Yeah. It's weird that, like, Crash and Spyro weren't in PlayStation All-Stars, though. Like, a game like that, it's just weird that they didn't get in.
Well, that's because the rights aren't owned by Sony.
What? No! No! Wait! I've died and I won! Yes! Magical!
You beat your record. Now, instead of 1 hit point, you had 0.
Yeah. Do I actually proceed? No, I do! Awesome!
Nice.
Oh, wow.
What was I saying?
All-Stars, Crash and Spyro.
Yeah, they're not owned by Sony.
Yes, that's true.
So even though they were Sony exclusives at the time, they're not anymore. And so the rights probably would have cost too much,
right,
I'm guessing.
Fair enough. It's interesting. Going back to, like, finding a career path, I can't remember specifically because I watched it, like, 3 months ago, but it was in a podcast with, I can't remember her name. Oh, what's her name? It was
Annie?
yes, it was a podcast with her, and you were talking about how like you did like various like tests for new people, like doing like you did like
Design
some
tests,
yeah
yeah.
design tests, and there were some really funny ones in there. I
Yeah, we were talking about bad tests that we've been given, and then what we do when we give tests for designers, for interviewing them for position.
mm,
I don't usually do a test if it's a senior position, only if it's a junior position, because by the time you're senior, your portfolio usually speaks for you.
yeah. So for people who are interested in getting into the industry, would you mind talking about that because they might want to know what kind of hell they'll have to endure.
What do you mean?
Like if they get someone who wants to do a really bad test on them, like they might want.
Oh, oh no. Well, so yeah. Sometimes the tests just require an disrespectful amount of work
Right.
from the designer. Uh, like my test requires work, but usually, but it's not. I'm not trying to take a week of the designer's time. I'm trying to take an evening, maybe or two. Uh, and it's that test has gotten smaller over the years. And the main thing I use it for is to find out if someone can take directions. That's it.
Mm.
It's can you follow directions? Because that's all I care about for a junior designer.
Yeah.
Most people aren't that way though. Uh, so what I would say is make sure you follow all of the directions on any test you're given to the letter, but then also put in something impressive, right? Like make sure that what you're doing isn't just what they asked for to the letter, right? Make it better because what they're going to want to see is that you can be given a task, follow directions, and improve upon it, right? Without too much intervention on their part, because the more they have to teach you, the less work they can do during their work hours, right? The more they have overtime they have to do. So these people are trying to look for people who are going to be easy to work with, right? Non-argumentative, take direction very well, and don't have gigantic egos. So that's probably the first thing you're going to want to try to tell them in everything, including your design test, right? Is that I can follow directions. I'm good at directing myself, right? I think beyond what you're saying, but I always follow the direction. And if there's something you don't understand or you're not sure if they'll want you to do, send them an email and ask because they will answer that question. So it's most of the successful design tests that I've gotten were from people who could follow the directions. They came up with something interesting, like say I asked them to do a boss battle design in Word, right, with a few stick figure illustrations. If I get one back that's a copy of another boss battle, right? Well, then I throw that test away, because or one time I asked them to design a puzzle, and they sent back scissors, paper, rock.
Yeah.
That's it. And then
Yeah.
they said, and they said it gets harder in later levels, and it was like, how does it get harder? Like, do they only throw rock in the first level and then they throw all three later on, or right? So it's that kind of not thinking through in terms of a designer test that I'm trying to weed out.
Yeah.
So somebody who comes in has carefully reviewed what I asked for and who has put in a lot of thought into the solution. That's what I'm looking for. And I'm pretty sure that's what most people are looking for out of a junior person. Now, some places are going to ask for more work than that, and some places are just going to have you for a phone interview. Not everybody does tests. Some people do a phone interview before they do a test. So if they give you a test, make sure you follow all the directions. If they tell you to do it within a certain amount of time, turn it in that amount of time, right? You don't have to turn it in early, but just get it in on time, and make sure that they got it. Stuff like that. Like just make sure that you're showing that you're easy to work with, so you're not pestering them or anything like that. But you're like, I've got this down. That you have sort of a good imagination, a good sense for going a little bit beyond what you've been directed to do to make what you're doing still within the directions, but better than just the directions. Right. So it's difficult. It's difficult to have a design, and I've turned in design tests that have been failed, and like again, like within the last 5 years. So it's not like if it fails, it doesn't mean anything about you. It just means you weren't the one for them. And I've gotten tests a few times that I failed. That as soon as I took the test, I already sort of didn't want to work for them because they clearly didn't understand what their design test was for because it wasn't. It was just busy work. It wasn't actually trying to teach them anything, you know. So sometimes that happens, and it's better off that you didn't end up with them because they're a mess, right? So just keep at it. For junior positions, they're hard to get because there's not a lot of them. So be flexible, and then follow directions. Try to show them that you're easy to work with. You can follow directions, that you are self-driven, that sort of stuff. Like good skills that they could turn into a good game designer.
In case you guys haven't been to Mike's channel, the link is always in the description in any video he's in. And if you couldn't tell, he is a genius. Like
I guess I am.
He's an absolute genius. I love everything you do.
Oh, thanks too. I appreciate it.
Like, go and subscribe. Like, go and check out the podcasts and the developer commentaries because you learn a lot. Just so many things, and it's not even things like I will ever put into practice really because it's not the industry I'm going for. It's not right now, but it's so fascinating. It really is, and it's just it's amazing. And unfortunately, you don't have a patron anymore because some things happened.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it's over, right? And I got a whole bunch of stuff written. I got a whole bunch of podcasts that were recorded during the time I was doing it. And I think that was good, right? Because otherwise I wouldn't have ever done them.
Yeah.
But right now I'm not making anything. I need to not make that for a while since I'm doing some contract work.
Yeah.
But when things calm down, I want to do some more articles and some more podcasts.
Oh yeah, you've also got loads of articles, which are awesome.
And Tony right now, he's working on a Kickstarter card game.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, called, I think, DayZ. No, not DayZ.
That's a very different game.
I wish I remembered what it was called, but he worked on, he tweeted about it, so if you look at his Twitter, it was, I think it's called Year Z, maybe. It has the word Z. It has the letter Z in it. Has the title, but he's been working on that, so we haven't been able to do podcasts together since he's been really busy. But hopefully, at some point, we won't be busy. That's generally how that channel works.
Yeah.
We'll go 3 or 4 weeks in a row putting up stuff, and then won't put up anything for a month. So if you're subscribed, you'll get notifications when we do put things up.
Yeah, their channel's awesome, and if you haven't seen anything from his channel, go watch it all. It's great. It's very entertaining, very fascinating. I'm there once or twice. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, you did Ratchet 1 with me.
I did Ratchet. I played significantly better than you or Tony.
I'm not very good at Ratchet and Clank, apparently.
Well, in fairness, I think it's more. It does take a while to get used to playing and talking at the same time.
It's really hard. Especially when
it looks.
Especially when I'm not talking about what I'm playing.
Yeah.
When it's like, okay, I have to think back 10 years.
Yeah.
And tell an interesting story and play the game.
And make it filled with jokes and make
have
it
it
easy
be
to understand for layman's and.
Yeah, so it takes a lot of work to do those. So yeah. I'm glad you like them. Thanks.
But
Tony will be happy you like them also.
They are the best. Because I think I discovered you from you mentioning you did a developer commentary of Ratchet in one of my videos of Ratchet, and I was just like, I'm going to see this, and instantly fell in love, and then we met up, and that was the highlight of that year. I mean, I went to E3 and it was awesome, and I met up with meeting up with you and David was the highlight because that was the first time I ever met David.
Nice. It was cool. We were.
It was really funny though, because technically David and I hadn't met up, and Activision thought we had, because I basically got him to come along. So we were just like, so do you make videos together often? It's like, yeah. It's like, so you meet up often? And we just looked at each other. Yeah, sure we do. Of course we do.
We meet up online often.
It's just like, yeah, of course we do. Every month, sure. Yeah. So we just looked at each other and just like, yeah, we just go along with that. Yeah, but no, it was just
We
like
took you to the
just
Walk
going
of
down to
Fame.
the hotel lobby, seeing you, and then hugging you was just the best. It was awesome.
Oh, thanks, Teal. We had a fun taking you to Hollywood and showing you what a garbage heap it is.
Yeah, the shithole that is Hollywood. Thank you for that. It was great. I got attacked by Batman.
he he honestly did, and that's not uncommon.
Yeah.
Most people who go to actually get attacked by Batman.
Yeah, no, really though. I actually did get attacked. In case you don't believe me, it genuinely happened. It was great.
There's a Batman impersonator who hangs out in front of.
And the worst Yoda I've ever seen in my life. Holy shit.
Yoda's not always there.
Like,
But
he,
man,
he, one, was really tall. Two, like, spoke with, like, a very thick accent. Like, not Yoda. This is closer to Yoda. No,
You have to
not,
understand, they're not like Disneyland employees.
yeah,
right?
I know, but at least,
They're
come
actually
on.
they're actually just begging.
Yeah, but you could
But
try
they're
better.
they're being entertaining instead of not
Are
being
they?
entertaining. That's good,
I mean, they're being entertaining in this sense, but they're terrible.
I suppose. But the the way I look at it is, it's nice because I'd rather have Batman, right, than someone just being like, hey, I need some gas money, man. Got any extra change? Like, oh, Batman, I want to give Batman some money.